Ladies and gentlemen, you have fought long enough. The wounds, the tears, the sleepless nights. None of it was in vain. The war that raged within your soul has finally met its end. The victory was not achieved by your strength alone, but by the one who stood beside you when everyone else walked away. The final battle has been won now. It's time to rest. For so long, you've carried your sword with trembling hands, fighting battles no one else could see. You've stood in the shadows, facing storms that others never knew existed. Every thought, every prayer, every tear became a weapon in your quiet war for peace. But now, the voice of God is calling you to lay it all down. The fight that once consumed you has already been won. There is no need to defend what heaven has already secured. The war that once defined your identity no longer has a place in your future. It is time to release the tension in your spirit, to unclench the grip of survival, and to rest in the victory that has already been written. You have proven your endurance, your faith, your loyalty through every dark night. Now, the commander of your soul says, lay down your sword, not because you've lost, but because the victory is yours. You are not walking away from the fight. You are walking into peace. The silence that follows is not empty, it's sacred. It's the moment heaven breathes over your scars and declares them healed. The greatest act of faith is not in striking another blow, but in trusting that the war is over. This is your moment to rest your hands, steady your heart, and finally breathe. The sword is no longer needed, for grace has conquered where strength could not. The battle is finished, and peace is now your portion. Rest is not a sign of weakness, it is the truest expression of trust. To rest is to believe that the victory has already been secured, that God has finished what you could not. It takes courage to stop striving, to quiet the noise in your soul, and to allow peace to take its rightful place. Rest does not mean you have given up on your purpose. It means you trust the one who gave it to you. When you rest, you are saying, I believe that even in my stillness, heaven is still working. Every great victory requires a moment of surrender, not to defeat, but to divine order. Rest allows your heart to realign with the rhythm of God's will. It is the space where you stop fighting for control and start embracing grace. In the stillness, the whispers of God become clearer. The anxiety that once fueled you begins to fade, and you start to see that peace is not the absence of movement. It is the presence of faith. To rest is to hand over the pen and let God write the next chapter without your interference. It's trusting that you don't have to hold everything together because He already is. This is where strength is renewed, perspective is restored, and purpose becomes purified. You are not stepping back, you are stepping deeper into trust. Rest is not retreat, it is restoration, the holy place where victory breathes, and your soul finds home again. The wounds you carry are not symbols of defeat. They are the proof that you made it through. Every scar tells a story of endurance, a silent testimony that pain could not silence your purpose. You may look at the marks left by betrayal, disappointment, or loss, and wish they weren't there, but those very wounds are evidence that grace sustained you when strength was gone. They are reminders that what was meant to break you only built you. Each scar is a chapter in your transformation, a visible sign of invisible battles that have been overcome. The world may see weakness, but heaven sees victory. Those wounds are no longer open. They are healed, sealed, and shining with resilience. You fought hard, but now the scars stand as living proof that you didn't fight alone. God was with you in every tear, every ache, every breath that refused to quit. When you trace those lines of pain, do not feel shame. Feel gratitude. They tell the truth about a survivor, not a victim. The marks you bear are no longer painful reminders. They are sacred signatures of redemption. They testify that even in your brokenness, light still found a way in. Your scars are your strength. They whisper to the world, I have been wounded, but I have also been healed. You are no longer defined by what hurt you. You are defined by what healed you. The wounds are proof that you've already won. Every battle you faced was never truly yours to fight. It always belonged to God. What looked like chaos from your perspective was carefully orchestrated from heaven's view. There were moments you thought you were fighting alone, when every prayer seemed unanswered and every step felt heavy with uncertainty. But in those very moments, divine hands were moving pieces you couldn't see. The struggle you endured was never wasted. It was shaping something eternal. God was fighting through your weakness, defending you in silence, and securing victory long before you saw the outcome. The storms that came were not meant to destroy you, but to reveal who was really in control. Every setback, every tear, every delay was part of His greater strategy to bring you closer to surrender. You were never abandoned. You were being positioned. The final battle was not won by your power, but by His presence. You were simply the vessel through which His glory was revealed. When you finally understand that the fight was never yours, peace takes the place of striving. You no longer carry the burden of outcomes because you trust the one who never loses. The battle belonged to Him all along, and He has already declared victory over your life. Now you can rest, knowing that what once seemed like defeat was simply God working behind the scenes to ensure that no weapon formed against you would prosper. The war is over. He has already won. When God calls you to rest, He isn't closing your story. He's refreshing your spirit for what's next. Rest is not an end. It's a divine reset. It's the moment when heaven pauses your pace to prepare you for greater purpose. You've poured out so much in battle, fought hard, prayed deep, and pushed through storms, but now God is saying, be still and let me restore what the war took from you. Rest is where your strength is rebuilt and your vision renewed. It's where the noise fades and the whisper of God becomes clear again. In stillness, He breathes new life into weary hearts and reminds you that your purpose was never powered by pressure, but by presence. Renewal happens in quiet spaces, away from the rush of striving and the weight of proving yourself. When you rest, God refills the places that exhaustion emptied. He heals not only your body, but also your perspective, giving you eyes to see beyond the struggle. The time of rest is not a delay. It's a preparation for your next dimension. You may feel hidden, but you are being rebuilt. What looks like stillness to others is strength in disguise. God is renewing your foundation so that, when you rise again, you'll carry wisdom, peace, and clarity that only rest can produce. This is not the end. It's the sacred beginning of a stronger, more refined you. Rest is where resurrection quietly begins. The true mark of a warrior is not found in endless battles, but in the ability to walk in peace after the fight is done. You have spent seasons fighting, surviving, and pushing through storms that tried to consume you. But now, peace is your proof of victory. When God brings you into rest, He isn't taking away your strength. He's transforming it. The same hands that once clenched in defense now open in surrender. The same heart that once raced with fear now beats with calm assurance. Peace is not the absence of struggle, it is the presence of divine order. It means you no longer need to fight for what God has already settled. The greatest warriors are those who have learned that silence can be stronger than shouting, and stillness can be mightier than striving. You have nothing left to prove, no battles left to win. The war is over, and peace is your inheritance. Let your soul breathe again. Let your mind find rest in the certainty that victory was never about how loud you fought, but how deeply you trusted. When peace fills your spirit, every past wound loses its power. You begin to live not as a soldier on edge, but as a victor walking in grace. This is your new season, not one of war, but of worship. The final battle has been won, and your greatest weapon now is peace. Live in it, breathe in it, and never let it go. So now, stand still, breathe deeply, and let your heart settle. Because the battle is over, the victory is yours, and it's time to walk boldly into the sacred peace that was always meant for you.